Hello everyone! In today's video we'll be taking a look at the Hex Phantom, a custom PS5 controller that recently got a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter. This here is the Dream Blue color, and you have 4 other models available. The build quality is very nice, and we can already see that it has back buttons and trigger stoppers, as well as the special port on the top. And everything else looks just like a PS5 controller. This box holds the different swappable analog sticks. You have 8 sticks available, 4 being taller sticks and 4 shorter. With the short sticks, you have 2 concave and only 1 convex. The other one is a wide concave stick, and if you're like me that likes convex sticks, you have no other option. Well, you can work around this by using a stick protector, which will make it flat. But I'd still prefer to have 2 concave and 2 convex options. It also comes with this analog stick protector rings, which you can install in the base of the stick. It protects the base of the stick well, but it also adds a bit more of resistance when doing circular movements. These sticks easily pops out if you pull it from the top. But it's fairly resistant if you apply pressure from the sides, and during gameplay it won't fall off. There's also this super tall and wide stick, perfect for shooting games. And there's this short but wide stick for the left side. I think this one is good for fighting games. If you don't find the tool you saw before in the manual, check the accessory box. It seems to have just the sticks initially, but the tool for opening the Drifix module is located inside. With this tool, you can open the Drifix module on the controller and tweak the analog sticks. You can store it in the middle of the box like this. The Hex Phantom has original Dualsense components inside, including the motherboard. Everything feels identical, but the shell is modified externally. The buttons have no labels. And you have a different grip as well. This grip is rubberized and the rest of the controller is made of plastic. Another small detail is that the buttons on the Hex Phantom will sink flat with the shell. This is not good because you can't feel very well where the button is when you're holding it down. On the original Dualsense, it won't sink so flat. It's just slightly higher, but it makes a big difference in the end. And if you follow my videos, you know how awesome the FlyDigi Vader 3 Pro is. It was the best controller of 2023 after all. The trigger stopper on this controller is different. It modifies the triggers from a linear trigger to a digital clicky trigger. And the Hex Phantom has the same mechanism. The triggers are very solid as well. Now let's test it in game. Here you have the clicky profile button, and the back buttons are somewhat easy to press. They use mouse switches and feels just like you're pushing a mouse button. However, I think that the switches here are a bit too easy to trigger. You have to be careful not to push them accidentally while playing. And the position of the two buttons leaves no place to rest your finger without pressing anything. If the K4 button here were removed, you could rest your finger here and they could have repositioned the K2 and K4 buttons on the top. But you can also turn these buttons off and play normally. To map a back button, the procedure is exactly the same of the extreme rate back buttons. Testing on PC, the circularity is the same of the original Dualsense. And the trigger modifier works on PC as well. The back buttons works too. Now, this controller has no Hall effect sticks. Alternatively, they added a Drifix module, which helps you to re-centralize the sticks. You can use the tool to open the lid, and by moving these screws, you can adjust the stick position. Moving to the teardown, this controller disassembles just like an original Dualsense. But when I reached this point, I noticed that they don't use the standard screws, and my screwdriver wouldn't work with it. I do have a triangular bit, but it's too big for this screw. And even trying with other bits, I couldn't open it, so I won't be able to disassemble it this time. They probably did it because they know that if the customer disassembles this, there is a high chance that they will mess something up and break something. After all, installation of those mods are fairly difficult. But again, if someone wants to open this, they will open it. You're just making the customer waste money on another screwdriver. I myself felt pretty annoyed by this because I just bought labeled buttons and I intended to install them on the disassembly. But now I'll have to buy another screwdriver just to change the buttons. I also believe that most people that buys this controller will want to add Hall effect sticks themselves. So if you want to buy this controller, you already know what you have to deal with. And here's my final thoughts for the Hex Phantom. It is a great controller. It competes directly with a Dualsense Edge on the price. And here you have one big advantage, that is the triggers. The Dualsense Edge has trigger stoppers, but they don't work the same way. The triggers will just be shorter. On the Hex Phantom, it is a modifier that will change the trigger to a digital switch. And it works just like the Vir 3 Pro, which is awesome. You have the best of both worlds, adaptive triggers and digital clicky triggers. For the analog sticks, the Hex Phantom has a Drifix module, while the Dualsense Edge has replaceable sticks. This is one of the points where they could have done better. Even with the fixed module, potentiometer drift cannot be stopped. You can recenter the stick, but as the potentiometer deteriorates more, the drift will only become worse. If they had gone with a Hall effect stick, this wouldn't be a problem. The Edge has replaceable sticks, and if you want to modify it to add Hall effect sticks, the procedure is easier to do than on the Hex Phantom. The Hex Phantom has 4 back buttons, and they work well, but the way that the buttons are positioned can lead to accidental button presses. The Dualsense Edge has 2 buttons, but then you can change between paddles and half-dumb buttons. And you can position your fingers in a way where you won't accidentally press anything. And finally, for the interchangeable sticks, the Hex Phantom has 8 options, and the Dualsense Edge has 6, but the Edge has equal pairs, while the Hex lacks an option for convex sticks. The Hex Phantom has been successfully funded on Kickstarter and has a few more days left in the campaign. If you really like the Vir 3 Pro and want an option like this on the PS5, this is the controller you should get. And that's it for this review. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.